All right, Jules. We've praised Liverpool. We've praised Trent. Obviously, I think everybody knows his contract is up on June 30th, 2025. I think nights like these really, really help him. And I look, when I wonder, how do you approach the Trent situation from Liverpool's perspective? I said, you got to let Slot judge him, evaluate him, see what he means to this team, put a value on what he means to this team, put that number in front of him in November, and then if you can't get it done, you can't get it done. Right?
Yeah.
There was no point extending him in the summer to some gigantic contract when Slot says, I don't want this kind of right back.
No, true. That's true. I would be very surprised if Slot didn't want to keep him. I think from a club's point of view, he is such an important part of what you do because he's obviously the local boy from the academy, etc., etc. On top of being an amazing player, certainly on the ball, defensively, of course, he can be better, he can improve. There's no doubt. I think it would be a massive mistake to let him go as a free agent. Even if there was a transfer fee involved, I don't think Liverpool right now can afford to let Alexander-Arnold go. For me, it's as simple as that. And I just think that if you look at the Van Dijk and the Salah situation, which is the same one as Trent, I can live with Van Dijk going. I'm not sure Liverpool can really live with Trent going. I really don't think so. He's such a symbol of that club. He's so important. He's a future captain. And personally, I think it'd be a mistake. No, at all cost, I agree with you in terms of...
That's what I mean. There's a number on it. You have a built-in substitute. You can say you can live with Van Dijk going. Interestingly, you don't mention the other free agent, Mohamed Salah. It may come down to a decision because ultimately it's about resource allocation, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think we agree on the most important thing where you have to have Slot's input.
Yeah.
And this is why I think it was the right decision not to extend him, before Slot's arrival, before Slot could give time to work with him. Now, in terms of Milan, where they are, I want to mention a quick thing about the pricing and the crowd. I read I won't name him, but I read people saying, "Oh, look, large numbers of empty seats in the San Siro, blah, blah, blah." It shows that the fans don't like the new Champions League format, right? Which is a moronic thing to say. The two things are definitely not linked. But it is interesting. It shows the importance of pricing to the fans. Yeah. Milan had 71,000, which is pretty much a sellout for their home game the weekend before against a very prestigious opponent like Venezia.
Yeah.
Then Liverpool come for the Champions League, arguably their most prestigious home game in the Champions League. And that number goes down to nearly 60,000, just under 60,000. And the reason is pretty obvious. And you could see in the stadiums, the seats that were empty were the most expensive seats.
Yeah.
And by the way, they're only 10,000 short, right? Those are 10,000 unsold tickets. Then you look at the ticket prices, and the cheapest ticket available that went unsold cost more than the most expensive regular adult seat at Anfield. Right. So we're talking, prices that to an NFL fan may not be huge, but, we're talking maybe close to $80. The more expensive ones were considerably more than that. And fans saying, no, I don't want to do this. I got the derby next weekend and so on. It just shows how important it is. To get it right.
We've had the case at Aston Villa and their pricing for their home games.
Exactly.
I think at Man City as well. Yesterday, Rob Dawson was saying that some fans were not happy with how much the ticket cost for that Inter Milan game. It is an issue.
Word on Christian Pulisic. Obviously, dream start.
Yeah, great goal.
Great ball from Morata.
Yeah.
I kind of felt that a lot of Milan this season was going to be how Morata interacts with whoever's over on the right, and it will be Pulisic a lot of the time because Fonseca he thought of the 4-2-3-1 with Pulisic in the hole. And I don't think we're going to see that anytime soon.
No, I agree.
But that was kind of all we saw.
And maybe the fact that Morata got injured in the first Serie A game of the season, so hasn't really played much with either Leao or Pulisic, and you need game time to be able to know each other and gel and understand exactly your movement and how to play together. But there was not enough of that. And again, I don't know if it's because Liverpool was just too good and too hard to play against, because Milan's midfield was
overrun,
exactly, and bossed by McAllister, Gravenberch especially, and Szoboszlai, or if they should have done more on the night, or all that front three, and maybe even Fofana, Reinders, and Loftus-Cheek as well. So I don't know, but if they find it hard against Liverpool on Tuesday night, I think they're going to find it almost impossible against Inter Milan at the weekend. Yeah,
also because Fonseca is not going to just... A different manager against Inter would set up like, all right, I need to save my job. Let's get a draw in the derby, blah, blah, blah. Let's park the bus. Fonseca is not going to do that, and it's a credit to him that he doesn't view football that way. He talked about how Fofana was supposed to be the big balancer in the midfield because you have this, large, high-energy guy runs around, gives you that defensive basis, which... Loftus-Cheek is a big fella, but he's not a defensive midfielder.
No, definitely not.
Reinders also high energy, but not that kind of player.
Yeah.
It's a big ask of a guy. Fofana just arrived. I think this is maybe his second start. I just don't know though how you're going to balance it out if that 2-man midfield, as he likes it, which is a Fonseca hallmark. Against more gifted opponents or opponents that are on your same technical level, if not higher, you can't. It's really difficult to carry that unless you have a constant threat from Leao, which you don't have.
Yeah, and I think the Benasser injury, another injury for a very long time again, is also a problem because I think Benasser and Fofana could work in certain games, in certain situations. I was really, really not convinced by that midfield on Tuesday. And again, the Liverpool midfield, as we've been saying, even if it's new for Gravenberch and to play with McAllister, etc., they were way above Milan, and it was too easy for them at times. But yeah, that's I think a problem for Fofana. I love Fofana, Paris born and bred. Obviously, it's a massive task. He really wanted the move, and it's great for him to got that move to Milan. But he's got a lot of work to do and a lot of work on his own as well, I think. And that's not going to be easy.
It was interesting being with the fans before the game. Like afterwards, there's this ritual that Milan do, Bayern do, a lot of clubs do it, where after the game you go and you thank the fans and you go under the ultras, under the curva, right? Which, as long as you're winning, they all applaud you, sing your name. When you lose, you take the abuse. We've talked about it. Some ex-pros that we know absolutely hate it. They're like, oh, I've done my job. Why should I have to go and indulge them, right? Others see this as, no, these are the people who are there supporting it, whatever. But they went there and they got a ton of abuse. Even in the final minutes of the game, they said, let's see some intestinal fortitude. Cojones, there you go. I genuinely get the sense that the anger of the fans right now isn't at Fonseca. It's at the players for what they see as a perceived lack of personality, a perceived lack of effort, which I think is wrong because guys like Tomori have a lot of personality. Guys like Fofana supposedly will when he gets there. Pavlovic as well. Magic Mike certainly.
Yeah.
Is it a positive or a negative when the anger is more when like the fans say like I'm not going to go and throw the coach under the bus, that's too easy.
Yeah.
But I take the issue. I take issue with the players.
Yeah, I think that's probably more worrying really than anything else. And we know the fans don't really like Fonseca because they didn't want him there in the first place. So more than Lopetegui, but it was still not the dream appointment for them in the summer. So I don't know. I'm not sure what's going to happen if they lose the derby on Sunday. What happened to Fonseca? What happened to those players? Where do you go from there even? Because we've been saying there's clearly a lack of, I'm not sure, talent probably in certain positions for sure.
Right back. Yeah.
I mean, why even going there in the first place? Calabria. That foul for the first goal by the corner flag, or not far from the corner flag, is completely stupid.
For which he got booked or for which he complained.
And then obviously Liverpool scores and make it 1-1 and don't understand it whatsoever. So there's clearly a few issues and the way they built that squad, but it's still not a bad squad at all, I think, right for Serie A. Is Fonseca the right guy though? Do they really listen to him? We know the Leao, Theo clash that they had with him. I'm just not sure. I watched that game, and again, you had a different vibe feeling because you were there. But on television, it looked like I'm not sure if he's if his instructions really were either understood or
executed.
Or went, yeah, exactly, by the players.
And, well, we'll see how it goes. If only, you know what Milan need? They need a real warrior, veteran, ex-pro who can inspire the players, who can be the link man between the owners and the dressing room and the media. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And after his few days off for personal reasons, he's back. That's right. Like a boss, Zlatan Ibrahimovic.